God Bless the Child has been played millions of times, covered by countless artists, and became one of jazz history's most iconic songs. But nobody knew the real story. This song was the product of a mother-daughter war. In 1939, Billie Holiday and Sadie Fagan had such a violent fight that neighbors considered calling the police. The reason was money. Sadie got angry. "I raised you, I took care of you. Now you're telling me no?" Billie shouted back, "You didn't take care of me, you used me." That night, Billie left the house, went to Arthur Herzog's place, and said crying, "I want to write a song about my mother." Arthur sat at the piano. Billie poured out the words. 18 minutes later, God Bless the Child was complete. But was there a hidden curse in this song's lyrics? Or was it a cry for liberation? If you enjoyed this story and don't want to miss the untold true stories behind Billie Holiday's songs, please don't forget to subscribe. Now let's discover what exactly happened that turbulent November night in 1939 and how a song crystallized all the pain of a mother-daughter relationship. November 1939 was both a career peak and personal collapse moment for Billie Holiday. She was 24 years old and one of New York's brightest jazz stars. She was performing regularly at Cafe Society, had become a political icon with Strange Fruit. Record companies were chasing her. She was making money, but her money was never enough. Because Billie wasn't just earning for herself, she was earning for her mother, Sadie Fagan, too. And Sadie's needs were endless. Sadie Fagan had been living with Billie since 1935. She'd come from Baltimore to New York, and Billie had welcomed her with open arms because the traumatized child was still seeking her mother's love. In the early years, Sadie would say, "I'm proud of you, baby," celebrating Billie's successes. But gradually the dynamic changed. Sadie increasingly demanded more, and Billie increasingly gave more. In 1937, Sadie became Billie's manager, officially. In reality, she became the person who controlled and spent Billie's money. Every week there was a new expense: rent, food, electricity, clothes, furniture, taxis, restaurants. Billie paid without question, because questioning meant conflict with her mother, and Billie was afraid of conflict. Billie's close friend and pianist Memory Midget had noticed the situation in 1938. "Billie asked me to borrow money every week. I was surprised because Billie was making good money. One day I asked, 'Where's your money, Billie?' Billie answered shamefully, 'My mother manages it, but somehow she always spends it all.' I said, 'Billie, you need to have your own bank account.' Billie shook her head. 'I know, but my mother would get angry.' A 23-year-old woman was afraid of her mother. This fear wasn't baseless. Sadie was a master at emotionally manipulating Billie. When Billie asked questions about money, Sadie would cry and say, 'I'm your mother. Don't you trust me?' Or she'd get angry and shout, 'I raised you, now you're being ungrateful to me.' In both cases, Billie would back down and apologize. By fall 1939, the financial situation had become critical. Billie's earnings were good, but debts were piling up. Rent was late, electricity was under threat of being cut off, there was grocery store debt. Billie couldn't understand it. "I'm making this much money, where is it all going?" Sadie gave the usual answer. "Life is expensive, baby, we're all trying to survive." But the truth was different. Sadie was spending the money on luxury expenses, her own social life, and questionable investments. In mid-November, when Billie looked at her bank account, she was shocked. There was almost nothing left. That week she had rent payment due and no money. In panic, she asked Sadie, "Mama, where's my money?" Sadie said casually, "There were some expenses, I took care of them." Billie insisted, "What expenses?" Sadie looked away. "I don't remember the details, but they were necessary things." That night Billie couldn't sleep, because for the first time she was facing a truth. Her mother was lying to her. For years Billie had been trying to convince herself, "My mother is just careless with money. She doesn't have bad intentions." But now this belief was cracking. The next day, Billie secretly opened a new bank account in her own name and deposited the $200 from her next concert there. This would be Billie's secret fund for emergencies, money her mother didn't know about. For the first time, Billie was trying to create a safety net without her mother. But secrets don't stay hidden long, especially when you're living with someone as controlling as Sadie. At the end of November, probably the 28th or 29th, the exact date isn't clear in records, but what happened was never forgotten. While Billie was getting ready for her evening concert, Sadie came home with a strange expression on her face. "Billie, I need to talk to you," she said. While doing her makeup, Billie said carelessly, "Yes, Mama." Sadie got straight to the point. "You have a secret bank account." Billie froze. Sadie continued, "Someone I know at the bank saw you, told me. Why are you opening an account behind my back?" Billie went on the defensive. "Because every time my money runs out and I don't know where it's going." Sadie's face turned red. "Your money? I'm your mother. Your money is my money." This sentence drove Billie crazy. "No, Mama, my money is my money. I earn it. I work." Sadie answered with raised voice, "Who the hell are you to talk to me like that? I raised you, I fed you, I did everything for you. Now you complain when I spend a little money." Billie started crying. "Not a little money, Mama, you spend all of it. I can't pay rent, I have grocery store debt, electricity is about to be cut off." Sadie laughed mercilessly, "Because you don't know how to manage money. Good thing I'm here, otherwise you'd be ruined." The argument was escalating. Billie shouted, "You're not taking care of me, you're exploiting me. You take every penny I earn and destroy it." Sadie delivered a slap, not physical, but verbal. "You're ungrateful. Did I take care of you or not? Who were you when I came to New York? You were a poor singer. I managed you, I brought you here." This was a complete lie. Billie was already successful. When Sadie arrived, her career was already rising, but Sadie was a master at distorting truth. Something broke inside Billie. The rage, disappointment, and sense of betrayal she'd been accumulating for years exploded. "You didn't take care of me. You sold me when I was 14. You sent me to a brothel. You stole my money, stole my life, stole my childhood, and now you stand here and tell me I took care of you." The room suddenly went silent. For the first time, out loud, Billie had accused her mother about those 3 nights. Sadie stepped back. Her face paled. Then she answered angrily, "That's in the past. Are you still talking about that? I did it for your own good. Otherwise we would have been on the street." Billie answered, sobbing, "For my own good. I was a 14-year-old child." Sadie played her final card. "Them that's got shall have, Billie. You need to learn that too. When I ask you for money, you should give it to me, because I'm your mother." This sentence was etched into Billie's mind. Sadie grabbed her purse and left. Billie sat on the floor, trembling and crying. She didn't go to the concert that night. She called saying, "I got sick." In reality, she wasn't sick. Her heart was broken. At midnight, Billie left the house. She knew where she was going. To Arthur Herzog's place. Arthur was one of Billie's closest friends and collaborators, a pianist, poet, and lyricist. Billie often worked on songs with him, but this night was different. When Billie knocked on the door, Arthur was awake. He saw the tears on Billie's face. "What happened, Billie?" he asked. Billie came in, just stood in the living room and whispered, "I want to write a song about my mother, but not a song full of spite, a song that tells the truth. A song about how she uses me, how money ruins everything." Arthur sat at the piano. "Tell me what you're feeling," he said. Billie started talking. "My mother told me them that's got shall have. And it's true. People respect those who have money, but those who don't have money, nobody cares. Even my mother only values her own daughter for money. I'm not a person. I'm an ATM machine." Arthur started playing chords, slow, melancholic chords. Billie listened to the music, then words started coming. The first line, "Mama may have, Papa may have, but God bless the child that's got his own." This sentence summarized all of Billie's rage and pain. She hated being dependent on her mother, her constant demands, never being enough. Billie thought, money changes everything. When you have money, everyone's your friend. When your money runs out, nobody's there, not even my mother. Arthur took notes. Billie poured out the words. She emptied everything inside her into that song. Years of betrayal, childhood exploitation, present-day desperation. It took 18 minutes. Arthur would later describe it this way. That night, Billie didn't write a song. She poured out her soul. Every word was like blood, sweat, and tears. We didn't make any corrections. It was perfect in its first form because it was 100% true. When the song was finished, Billie and Arthur sat in silence. Arthur asked, "What will happen if your mother hears this?" Billie answered with a bitter smile, "She won't understand, because my mother never sees herself as guilty, but maybe others will understand. Maybe someone will listen and say, I'm going through the same thing." Arthur nodded. History had been made that night, but nobody knew it yet. In 1941, "God Bless the Child" was recorded on OK Records. Billie sang it. Eddie Haywood accompanied on piano. During recording, Billie sang each word with special weight, because each word was a truth she'd lived. The musicians in the studio felt the pain in Billie's voice, but didn't know why. Sound engineer Roy Doonan would later describe it this way. "Billie was crying while singing that song. Not tears, but her vocal cords were crying." This wasn't technique, it was emotion. When the song was released, it immediately became a hit. People thought the song was about financial independence and self-reliance. Critics said it was a praise of the American dream. But nobody knew the real story. This song was a silent rebellion against a mother. Billie didn't explain either. She couldn't tell people it's about my mother, because Sadie was still alive and Billie was still living with her. The traumatic bond continued. When Sadie heard the song, her first reaction was pride. My daughter wrote a great song, but did she really listen to the lyrics? Did she understand the song was about her? Maybe she understood, but didn't accept it. Sadie never saw herself as an abuser. In her head, she was a sacrificing mother, and Billie was an ungrateful daughter. This distorted perception continued until Sadie's death. But Billie's close friends knew the truth. Carmen McRae, Billie's friend and colleague, said this in the 1950s. God Bless the Child was a letter Billie wrote to her mother, but a letter her mother would never read. Because Sadie couldn't read. She had no emotional literacy. This was a deep observation. Sadie was physically literate, but emotionally blind. Did the relationship between Billie and Sadie change after God Bless the Child was written? No. Because writing a song wasn't a solution, it was just an exposure. Sadie didn't change her behavior, and Billie couldn't break free from her mother. Throughout the 1940s, the financial exploitation continued. In fact, in some ways it got worse, because as Billie's earnings increased, so did Sadie's demands. In 1941, Billie bought an apartment in her own name. Sadie got angry. Why didn't you put it in my name? I'm your mother. This time Billie stood firm. Because this is my home. Sadie took revenge. A few months later, she forged Billie's signature to put a second mortgage on the house and withdrew the money. When Billie found out, she was shocked. She considered starting legal proceedings, but couldn't, because that meant taking her mother to court. The power of traumatic bonding was so great that Billie couldn't defend her own rights. When Sadie got sick in 1945, Billie paid all medical expenses. When Sadie recovered, the first thing she did was ask Billie for money as a recovery gift. Billie gave it, because giving was the only thing Billie knew how to do. God Bless the Child sold hundreds of thousands. Royalty income came, but Billie never had any money in hand. Sadie took it all. When Billie was arrested for drugs in 1947 and went to prison, Sadie didn't visit. For 10 months, Billie stayed alone in prison. Her mother didn't come, but when Billie got out, Sadie was there to get money. I ran out of money in prison. Help me, she said. Billie had just been released, was unemployed, her cabaret card was revoked, her future was uncertain, but she still gave her mother money, because saying no to Sadie was impossible for Billie. When Billie Holiday started receiving psychiatric treatment in the 1950s, she talked to her therapist about God Bless the Child. Dr. Eric Byrne, Billie's therapist, wrote this in his notes. Patient confessed that her most famous song is actually the product of suppressed rage toward her mother. While the song is perceived in society as praise of financial independence, for the patient it's actually a document of a traumatic mother-daughter relationship. In one session, Billie had said people listen to that song and get the message, be strong, be independent. But what I was thinking when I wrote that song was, I wish my mother didn't need to take my money. I wish she just loved me. Could she love me without money? I never found out because money was always between us. This confession revealed the song's true emotional core. Dr. Byrne asked Billie, when you wrote the song, did you want to show it to your mother? Billie answered, on one hand, yes, I wanted her to understand how she hurt me, but on the other hand, no, because her understanding meant war with her, and I didn't want to fight, I just wanted to be loved. This sentence was the essence of traumatic bonding. The victim continues to seek the abuser's love instead of blaming them. In a 1954 interview, a journalist asked Billie about the inspiration for God Bless the Child. Billie gave a diplomatic answer. It's a song about life's realities. Money changes people. She didn't tell the complete truth because she couldn't. Sadie was still alive. Billie was still in a relationship with her. Revealing the truth meant ultimate break with Sadie, and Billie wasn't ready for that. When Sadie Fagan died in 1959, Billie collapsed. At the funeral, she cried uncontrollably. People thought it was normal grief, but Billie's tears were complex. Grief, anger, relief, guilt, and unresolved emotions mixed together. Billie whispered to a friend, I'm finally free, but why do I feel so terrible? In the months after Sadie's death, Billie removed God Bless the Child from her concert repertoire. She didn't want to sing it anymore. Friends asked why. Billie said that song has lost its meaning now, but the truth was different. Singing God Bless the Child without her mother was like addressing a ghost. The song's power came from Sadie's presence, her living, demanding, never-ending presence. But in the summer of 1959, in the final months of Billie's life, she couldn't resist a concert request and performed God Bless the Child again. This time it was different. The voice was broken, slow, almost a whisper. Listeners noticed Billie was crying. After the concert, a fan told Billie, "You looked so sad singing that song." Billie answered, "Because I understand now. That song was always about my mother, and she's gone now, but the song is still here, and I'm still in pain." When Billie Holiday died in July 1959, in her will, the copyrights to God Bless the Child were protected with a special clause. Billie wanted the song to always remain independent, never appear in any advertising or commercial use, because that song wasn't for sale, it was a piece of her soul. Today, God Bless the Child as a jazz standard has been covered by countless artists: Aretha Franklin, Blood, Sweat and Tears, Shania Twain, Tony Bennett, and many more. Each version brought a different interpretation, but none could capture the pain in Billie Holiday's original recording, because that pain was personal, lived, real. Music historian Farah Jasmine Griffin stated in her 2001 Billie Holiday biography, "God Bless the Child" superficially appears to be a praise of American individualism, but in deep analysis, it emerges as documentation of a traumatic mother-daughter relationship, financial abuse, and unresolved childhood wounds. With this song, Billie Holiday didn't just create a hit, she conducted her own therapy. The song's most painful irony is this: it says them that's got shall have, but Billie Holiday never had her own money in her life. Every penny went to her mother, husbands, managers, drug dealers. Billie dreamed of living like a king, but never achieved it. The song was a longing, a dream, a scream: "I wish I had my money, and nobody could take it from me." As psychologist and trauma expert Dr. Bessel van der Kolk says, trauma victims often express their trauma through art, but this expression doesn't mean healing. It only means externalization of pain. Billie Holiday externalized her pain with God Bless the Child, but didn't heal, because healing would have required distancing herself from Sadie, and Billie could never do that. Was God Bless the Child ultimately a curse or liberation? Both. A curse because it perpetuated Billie's pain. Every time she sang it, she relived the trauma. Liberation because it told the truth, made her voice heard, inspired others. Today, millions who listen to that song don't know Sadie Fagan, don't know what happened that November night in 1939, don't know how a song was written in 18 minutes, but they feel it, because pain is universal. And Billie Holiday's voice carries that universal pain, the pain of maternal betrayal, the pain of financial abuse, the pain of a love need that was never met. Every time you listen to God Bless the Child, remember, this isn't just a song, this is a letter a daughter wrote to her mother. A letter never sent, never read, but echoing forever. This is Billie Holiday's greatest achievement and deepest tragedy, because the song became immortal, but the pain never healed. When Sadie Fagan stole money from her daughter, she unknowingly created one of jazz history's most iconic songs. The irony is painful. Sadie took everything from Billie, but unknowingly also gave her what granted immortality: tremendous, raw, real pain, and that pain crystallized in God Bless the Child. The fight that started that November night in 1939 never ended. Sadie died, Billie died, but the song lives, and every time it's played, that night is relived. Billie's scream, Sadie's betrayal, Arthur's piano, the magic of 18 minutes, all there, in the recording, frozen forever. And maybe that's what Billie wanted. Maybe the song really was a curse on Sadie Fagan. Because you said them that's got shall have, they'll remember you forever through this song, mama. As the woman who exploited her daughter, as the woman who created but also destroyed Billie Holiday, and every time God Bless the Child plays, they'll hear your betrayal, forever. This was Billie Holiday's victory and revenge. Silent, subtle, but eternal revenge. Sadie took her money and burned it. Billie took her pain and immortalized it. History remembers Billie. Sadie is only remembered as the bad mother. But did Billie really win? No, because the song didn't save her. It voiced the pain but didn't ease it. God Bless the Child is Billie Holiday's masterpiece, but also her gravestone. Written on it, "Here lies a girl who tried forever to forgive her mother but never could." And maybe that's the song's real power. No resolution, no happy ending, no catharsis, just truth. Some wounds never heal, some relationships can never be repaired, some pain never subsides. All we can do is pour them into song. And Billie Holiday did that. Perfectly, painfully, forever. When God Bless the Child plays, it's no longer just a song. It becomes Billie Holiday's soul. It becomes Sadie Fagan's Betrayal. It becomes that November night in 1939. It becomes 18 minutes of desperation. And it becomes all our, the listeners, similar pains. Because in the end, we all have a Sadie. We all have a moment when we heard "Them That's Got Shall Have." We all have someone we want to scream at. "You didn't take care of me, you used me." And Billie Holiday screamed that scream for us, forever. That's why God Bless the Child is immortal. Not technically, emotionally, humanly, truthfully. As long as pain is universal, this song will live. And each new generation will listen to it and think, "This is my story." That's the real power of art. That's Billie Holiday's legacy. Sadie Fagan stole her daughter's money one night and unknowingly made history as a bad mother. And Billie Holiday took that night and created one of jazz history's most beautiful, most painful, most honest songs. Who won? History decided. Billie won. Because songs live longer than money, pain is stronger than betrayal, and truth always comes out, sometimes in 18 minutes,